Hello. So we are continuing our project from yesterday. We'll actually be continuing the same exact project for the next 3 weeks. We took apart the mock-up dress yesterday. We ripped the basting stitches out that were holding it all together. We marked everything. That's why there's lines all over the place. And now we're going to take our pattern and put it onto this really nice silk brocade. It feels fantastic. I wish you guys could feel it because the texture of the fabric too is just, it's beautiful. So I've set off to the side of my table another table, and it has the accordion fold. At least I think it's accordion fold, and I'm hoping it's accordion fold. That way as I'm pulling it out, it travels neatly without snagging. Yeah, this fabric was, it's my first overseas purchase, Smellums. In a sense, I am doing a Chinese inspired dress. I wanted to use authentic Chinese silk, so I'm probably mistaken, so don't quote me, but the dimensions of this would make this perfect kimono fabric. If anybody else watches this video and knows about Chinese silk, let me know if that's correct or not. But I ordered, I don't know if this is, you know, kimono fabric, but it's got the weight of it. It's beautiful. Even the back side of it is as well. And I like the sheen silk front. So I have it upside down because all of the marks you make on the back side of your fabric, unless you want to use the back side of your fabric for your project, which is completely acceptable to do as well. I know that I will be putting chalk on this, so I want to use the back side. You can see that there's these wrinkles here too, and I'm a little hesitant to do this, but I'm going to lightly steam this. All right, how do I want to go about this? I'm going to leave it on the table when I do this. We're going to use one of those. Now, because this is actual silk, you will not ever place your iron on the actual fabric. Hey mocaps, long time no see. I'm going to put some water in this because I don't want the actual heat to help iron these out. I want the steam to. Now, if you are uncertain and you're using silk or satin fabrics, what to set your iron to, oop, and I'm getting water on it already. On the inside, usually there is a number chart. So this one says to set it to 2. I usually iron and press my cottons at 2 or 3, so I'm going to keep this guy at 1 because he is old. That, and I'm not going to be using a heat-resistant backing. So yeah, I've got the serger behind me pulled out as well. You can see that the silk just frays. So as we cut our patterns, unlike when we were cutting up the mock muslin, once we cut the pattern, we could easily fold it up and set it aside. We're going to immediately serge the ends of the pattern. That way we don't have to worry about any fraying, because what this is cutting into, you know, the edge of the fabric where your seam allowance would be, and we don't want to lose the seam allowance. Not on something like this. That, if you didn't serge your ends and you didn't line this, you'd have all of this kind of against your skin on the inside. I don't want that. So I'm only going to do what I need, and I might even, I'm going to leave this here. Where did we put it? Oh, the Cat's Bad Kitty spray bottle. I'll be right back. So again, I want to use a steam instead of pressing it out with just heat, almost like you're ironing your hair. So I'm going to mist it with the cat spray bottle. I'm going to do in between. Again, this is just muslin. This is my protective barrier. I don't care what happens to the muslin. And so you can hear this, the water through the layers. Alright, and we are going to slowly work them out. And I'm just going to steam out what I need as I go. I'm going to just continue to move the iron over. I don't want to rest it on one place and direct the heat to melt anything. If I keep my hand rubbing across the fabric too, I can check the temperature. Alright. Yeah, we're good. The reason I flipped it over just then is I see that there is a abnormality in the stitching on the back side, and I wanted to make sure that that wasn't transferred to the front. Nope, so that's just a signature, if you will, of the machine that put this pattern together, which is a fun process to talk about all on its own, but I won't bore you and we won't do that now. So the first pieces that I am going to transfer to this gorgeous fabric is going to be the bodice, the top of the dress. They're smaller pieces, a little bit more manageable to start all this off with. Once I get a feel for the fabric, then I will be also gradually moving up to the larger pieces. Now what this muslin is also doing, and you might be able to see, ooh, we got blurry really fast. Come back to me, camera. Let's see if we can fix that. For some reason it looks like we there we go. For some reason we lost the above camera for a second. Now we're back on track. There are creases on my muslin, and as I'm dragging my iron across them, it is leaving like this residue behind. I use this thing for a lot of projects that you're supposed to use an iron for and that you're not supposed to use an iron for. So the muslin, as well as being a barrier and shield for heat, is also making sure that any gunk I have doesn't transfer onto my nice fabric, as I just dumped water out. But too much water. So yeah, just pressing out all those, steaming out gently. With this dress, I'm just trying to use patience. So now it's not perfect, but it will be easier to lay out. That's what drives me crazy. My patterns that I need. Still use that. These will drive me crazy. I'm just using a chalk. Now, I will be lining everything, so eventually I'll need 2 of everything, but I'm not going to be greedy, and we're just going to start off with 1 of everything. So when I am placing these, I, for the most part, already have my seam allowance on some pieces. This is a back piece, and I know that I'm going to be putting a zipper and some closures on my back. So here is the center of my back. I'm going to give myself more of an allowance on this side to play with later. That way I can either put buttons in, hooks in, add a zipper, but I don't have to decide that now. I'll just make sure I leave myself enough room. I also have to make sure that I add that 3/4 of an inch here, because this is what's going to attach my top to my bottom. Just carefully trying to mark this as precisely as possible. I'm going to do a dashed line to where I need to add that 3/4 of an inch to. I'm also going to do the same here. Where's the... So what is this? 3/4. 3/4 puts it out here. So I'm going to give myself about an inch there. I'm just using a ruler to help make some marks. I'm just making some dashes to connect. Make sure my lines are straight. I'm going to be drawing new ones. W for waist. Alright. I'm going to just place this one down here. I've got a stool that I put my feet on. So when I'm done with the pattern, I'm just going to place it down there. That way it's out of the way for right now. Now I want to also, when I lay these patterns out, think of this fabric as a giant game of Tetris. this piece is normal, if that's what you would call it. Doesn't have anything that needs to be added or special text to it. So again, I'm just carefully holding down my fabric patterns. They're curling up in some spots because I did have it basted, machine basted together, my mock-up for fitting. For those of you that were at the stream yesterday, sorry we had to cut it short. The mailman lady actually, ooh, I just had a brain fart. I didn't take into consideration that there's pattern to all of this, which means there's a grain to the fabric. So this piece is correct, this piece is not. The mail lady brought some stuff for the hair pieces for this project, and just had to meet him at the door. Alright, so that's like that never happened. Just swipe that off. So, I can't believe I just spaced on that today. This pattern has directions, just like wood grain, up and down, left and right. If I'm going to have the dress skirt go up and down, I need to have the same grain go up and down in the exact same manner throughout the top. So the piece that I was just tracing onto this fabric would have been running perpendicular to the grain that I just placed for the bottom piece that I would have directly connected that one to, which would have been obvious. So let's fix this. Now what we can do is we can cut out pieces upside down, because you would still be going with the grain as long as you keep the direction of flow from one side to the other, not going cross, if that makes sense. So instead of doing my piece like this, I could do my piece like this, going up and down, or do my piece like this, going up and down. But perpendicular is a no-go. Silly me. Silly, silly, silly me. So in that case, we're gonna do it like this. Again, I can do it upside down. I just can't do it perpendicular. I don't know why my camera is just having like a panic attack up there. Ooh, wee camera. Chill out now. If it continues, we'll just pause stream. I'll bring it down some so you're not viewing as much of the table. I thought I'd be able to get this much of the table in. Let's see here. I have a friend asking me a question. She wants to know what type of power bank I have. So when I go to conventions, or if I'm just Pokemon going around town, so I'm just gonna take a picture and send it to her. happened? I love this thing. It can charge a cell phone 10 times, I think was what they advertised. If you've depleted it, it'll take a whole day to charge the beast back up, but we use it for everything. And it's got 3 like charging ports for the fast charger on it. So it's nice, real nice. Definitely worth it was like $60. Not too bad. It's definitely already made itself back. Rav power. When in doubt, send a cat smiley face. That's how I answer things. Cat smiley face. So I'm giving myself an extra inch for the zipper. And I'm giving myself an extra inch for the waist. Because it's always easier to cut fabric off than mysteriously and magically add fabric that wasn't there to begin with. So this has got to be B. Alright, 2 pieces done. Many, many, many more to go. So, like you can see, I'm trying to get it as close to the edge as possible. I think I might wait on the collar and sew these on a fold. I'm going to wait to do the collars till absolute last. I'm going to do that with scraps and fold them and stitch them on their own and fold them inside out. I got it all up in here. I just can't, the word stuff right now. The mind's going. The mouth can't keep up. Move my side table. Here's the rest of my fabric. Now I gotta be careful not to like chest rub the marks off. So again, I'm just making sure that everything goes up and down, not side to side. So here's my waistline, here's the waistline here. Just kind of making sure, I'm eyeballing it, let's be completely honest, that it's somewhere around the same part. Now, I know that when I draw these guys on, these two small pieces that I just did were for the lower back. These two pieces, obviously, they say it here too, are for the upper back. I know that the only thing I've got to make sure I replicate is the shoulder. So I did take in the shoulder a little bit. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, why aren't you trying to match the pattern up? The pattern for this is so docile. Yes, there obviously is one, but to match it up would just be a waste of my time. It truly would. The outcome would look the exact same. The only person that would notice that matchup would be the creator. Alright, so this goes here. There's that. Shoulder seam. Alright. Moving right along. I'm just going to keep tilting this to make it easier for myself. Okay, so this does go into the... Alright. Okay. The reason I'm choosing chalk, as you saw moments ago when I made that error, I was able just to use a cloth and brush it away. I do have the water disappearing markers for fabric, but to use those markers for these really long SketchUp pieces, it would take longer to make sure that the marker was visible. Those markers are more so when you are trying to make dart marks or things that you don't want to rub off. So again, the reason that I'm having difficulty holding these patterns down and they're curling is because they were stitched together already for the mock-up. The mock-up did sit completely put together for about a week, so this fabric had some time to rest, if you will. table back. Now we got one more piece to the top before we start diving into the skirt, and that's the front. And the front's the one that has all the odd marks. Now what I can't do is I can't turn this. This has to go straight up and down. And I've also got to take in consideration too that this is, whatever I put is going to be smack dab on the front of my chest. So do I want, do I want there to be just one of these circular patterns smack dab in the, why is this camera doing this? The center of my chest? Probably not. Let me see if I lower this, if it'll stop freaking out for a second. Here, hold on. I think I've got, give it a moment. We're gonna fix some things up quickly. We're just gonna bring the camera down, hoping that it stops all that frazzledness. All right, let's give some adjusting. And hopefully that will solve the panic attack that this thing was having earlier. Focus, camera. Calm down. And probably not, maybe so. Come on, camera. I've been having more problems with this webcam. And I'm not sure if it's like the sheen on the fabric. Alright. Or the fact that I just move around a lot. We are having some difficulties with that. So yeah, I've got to figure out, back to what we were talking about, I've got to make sure that, like, there's one circle here, there's two circles there. I don't want there to be, like, one circle on each of, like, my chests either. That's a little strange. So, just, placement is everything. Placement is everything. And it might work out best where it slides down significantly. Good. This is a big conundrum. It's the underlying question. Where do you want your patterns? Because, I mean, you definitely don't want it to be off. So, it's not accordion folded, as just found out right now. It's rolling up into it. Baka. Yeah, I think this fabric is just throwing my camera as I'm looking up at it, and it's got like the pattern of waves. Definitely not what it looks like. So, sorry for shitty quality. It might be. Alright, let's see here. And in between. So if I were to lay this out still, I would not want it to, and this is hopefully not going to snag, to be in between things. If we did it high, so that was more of a, oh, I personally think it looked ridiculous that way, but let's try it this way then. I'm just laying it out different ways. Do a high note, and these came down a bit. Again, all this extra space here, I do have the collars that I still need to do. I'm not worried about. This is the part that everybody's going to see, what I'm trying to draw right now. This is the part that will be in pictures the most. It's got to be perfect. Has to be perfect. The marks I just made signify, ooh, I did scratch that a little bit. The center of those points, that's where we're going to lay it down at. All right. I'm going to use my phone as a weight. So I'm just making sure to pull and flatten things out as fast as possible. That's fine there. Making this is slightly nerve-wracking. How are you? What are you making? Well, if you read, what is it? Here's the title. It tells you I am making a Chinese Empress inspired wedding dress. So right now I am transferring our mock-up onto authentic Chinese silk brocade fabric that just came in yesterday. So we are using chalk to transfer our original mock-up dress design. Making sure, don't forget darts if you're a busty gal. And you don't put darts into your dress. Make a darted dress and you will never go back. Just saying. I imagine that bustier dudes, like guys that are a little beefier too, around the pectoral area would need some type of dartage. I don't know. Always like a good taper. That sounds like a very fun project. Pink's not my color, but there is a lot of fun fabric that is pink. I made my niece a pink mermaid like sleeping bag. I hated all those pink sequins I found in my sewing machine. It almost seemed like months after I had made it. And I cleaned the sewing machine out too many times since then. So I'm just using this ruler to apparently not draw a straight line, to connect my dart lines. Now here's our waist. Remember when we cut it up yesterday and cut this off the mannequin, we cut off our waist. So just like with the back pieces where we added that 1-inch seam allowance for the waist, we're going to do the same thing to the bottom here. And I'm just going to mark that and sew that on there. So we're going to do 1 inch just because we can always cut things later, but you can't add. Ooh, let's see what the chat's saying. Oh, I mean, sounds like you'll be busy. Definitely sounds like you'll be busy. So I was going to share with you guys what the postman woman brought yesterday. But then, as I was talking to myself and to Space Admiral Stitch, we realized that we're going to leave that a secret till the first photo shoot. And then in the pictures, you guys will get the lowdown and all the good stuff that goes with it. Okay. So that's done. This is the waist. Now, I did not mark, if some of you are recalling, the bottom darts for the waist. What's going to happen is I will transfer those once I have stitched up the skirt and go to attach the two of them together. That's the game plan, because remember, we want those lines to go from skirt to the darts ending just below the rib cage before the bust darts come in. So we're going to leave those. I've got them on the mock-up. We'll leave it. Then when the part comes around and we actually have to stitch it in, then we'll worry about it. That way it's perfect match to the seams. To finish up the top, before we venture down into the skirt, I have these collar pieces. if we look up here where the collars pieces are going to sit, here's my center. Where's my big metal rulers? Just are snagging on things. Let's see here. Here's my center. So my collar pieces will start here and curve around. We're probably going to put an interfacing in them, but I've got to then match it up with, not exactly, but a roundabout with the patterns that we have. Let's see. Let's see. I'm making myself a light green. Let's see. I'm going to make myself a light green forest. I would like to just informous Miss Bachelor, the dark pink and black. I'm not sure I'm following you, and it looks like you're just posting a lot of the same stuff. Well, okay, so we're gonna go back to the collar. Now what's gonna happen is I'm just going to trace this general shape. The actual collar line does cut in toward the collarbone, the esophagus area. I'm going to just sew that in. That's what I'm going to do. So we're going to figure out which one's the bigger piece. This guy. So we're going to, they are the exact same shape. They should be. They are. One's just longer than the other. Again, it's always best to have more fabric than not enough. I mean, what is my favorite color, you're asking? I mean, my wedding dress is red, so probably red. I like bold statements. Pink is just a muted red. Anyways, it's just a tint of red. So, anybody who likes pink inadvertently likes red. They just don't know it. Tee-hee-hee-hee-hee. Same thing goes for anybody that really digs a secondary color, truly. It's just a derivative of a primary color mixed with another primary color. Now we're getting into art theory. Alright, back to this collar. That'll look nice. Here. So we'll just... I'm going to fold these, so I'm just going to mark them then in. Okay, so if we go 1, 2... Yep, that's what we'll do. I will, once we cut these generally out, I'm going to show you guys how to rethread a 2-needle 4-string serger, because I got to take the black thread off of it and put my red thread on it anyways. So, might as well do it with you guys. I didn't give it a lot on that. Did I just like pull it off and just say, hey, that'll work? Sometimes I wonder what goes through my head when I do some of these things. Thought process is there originally, then something happens and I derail. It's like when you are in class taking notes and you go back to your notes and you're not quite sure what your shorthand was. Yes, my shirt is from Nerdbox's. Nerdbox from like last year, a couple years ago. They're great craft shirts. Alright, put that done. Now I've got enough of it drawn out to deal with. Fabric scissors. Ooh, I'm gonna cut it. Ooh, it's so nice to cut. Oh, yeah. I mean, you can really tell the difference of a high quality fabric to low quality fabric just when it comes down to cutting it. It was effortless. Effortless. Just putting a ruler there to deter the cat from jumping upon it. Now, what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to cut all of these patterns out and directly around the lines that I have drawn. That's a lot of wasted time. A lot of wasted time and wasted effort. Instead, I'm going to make sure all my triangles are flipped on the inside. I'm going to cut around it, and then when I go to serge, I'm going to serge along my lines, and that's what's going to trim them all up. So in the meantime, I'm just going to go and turn all these triangles the opposite way. Apparently I'm missing a triangle on this side over here. What is that? We've got the A side and the B side. Lower back. Lower back. There we go. Huh. Didn't have one on that one. Oh. Doesn't matter to me. Went together well the first time. Can't be too bad the second time. So by flipping the triangles over, when I go to serge and serge them off, I will still have a drawing of where everything should roughly be. So again, I don't want to leave too much of an overhang for all of this extra scrap fabric, but I don't need to cut up close. So like I'm not going to leave that big chunk on, I'm going to trim up and around it. Being careful not to drag the front of my scissors along the front of the fabric, because I mean, look at how pretty that is. It's some gorgeous fabric. As of right now, I'm going to keep all these scrap pieces because I do have to do some, I can't even tell you yet what it's for. I'm going to keep them because they could come in handy for a little side prop, if you will. as much as I think I have to cut more of them. This is the one that I use. Yeah. Cut 2 more. Making sure to flip these this time around. Chop. My favorite smoothie is strawberry and banana. That's cool. There's just too much moving around for this camera right now. You know what I'm gonna do too? 'Cause I'm being blinded by lights. Oh, there we go. Ah, saved my eyesight a bit. Yeah, see, so it's the fabric, because once I put those scissors down, the camera was able to focus. So if you guys see that the camera's wigging out, let me know to put something dark down, because it just can't keep up with the pattern that's on this fabric right now. So what are you... Emily something dance, I can't reach a really neon green text. You're asking, what is your favorite smoothie? My favorite smoothie is strawberry and banana. Do they have green mint fabric and floral design in store? Dude, I don't know. You're going to have to go to your own store. Your store is going to be different than my store, and my store is going to be different than his store, and his store is going to be different than her store. No Joanne fabric is exactly the same. No Michael's is exactly the same. I don't even know if you have a Haberman's where you're at. Like, so you're gonna have to go and check that out yourself. You can always shop online too. That's come on now. So what I'm doing is I was going to just fold these in half, but I do want to serge both the lining and, I guess, the surface, the non-lining. So for me to just stitch these, I'd then end up having to serge both ends that are going to attach the bodice top, and at that point, like, if I serged the ends, like all the 3 ends close, it just wouldn't work. It wouldn't work out. I strategically played that one ahead in my head, and I had to trace it out 2 more times. It's like shogi, viewing the steps ahead. I should definitely bring my shogi board to Youmacon this year. That could be fun. Some after convention shogi playing. Cha! After drinks, shogi game. Object. You know what? If I leave my mouse out here, maybe it can focus on the mouse. Alright. Yeah, it's the fabric that really is wigging out the camera. So I'm one of those people that as they go will fold up their scraps, that way they don't have an abomination to deal with at the end that is just too uncontrollable. Now, You can already tell that I'm starting to fray. Some of my edges are starting to fray. So before I handle it anymore, try to piece things together to see how they go, I need to serge my ends. Stop, drop, and serge. You're excited for... Yeah, I'm excited for Youmacon too, except for... I'm in the air. Alright, Smellums, since you're on, I'm gonna give you... This is the insight I was told at Michigan Comic-Con. Youmacon is bringing 2 international cosplay competitions this year. Or at least, again, don't quote me on that. That's what I was told. So, like, it could be just be hearsay, and that was what was being relayed to me. However, it was told to me by, like, a pretty, like, reliable source. I wasn't going to compete in Youmacon. I was just gonna kind of, like, put some fun costumes on, float around, have some drinks, animate up, you know. But now I'm just not sure. And I want them to release what these other competitions could be. That way, like, I can see, like, is it something I'm interested in? Do I still just want to float? Because I don't think there's enough time to do what I want to do in time for Youmacon. The costume that the cosplay I was going to start after we finish this dress was going to be for Anime Boston, which is in April, May of next year, because I'm not going to, you guys are going to be the first one to hear it, I'm not going to Motor City Comic Con next year. Just scissor drop on that one right there. I'm not going. Unless something drastically changes. Like, I don't know, I wake up for a coma and have, like, some just elated dream that I must go. I don't want to go. So, that's what I'm dealing with. And I thought, I need to stretch my wings. I got some friends that live in the Boston area. Why not go there? But yeah, so Youmacon. I'm excited about Youmacon, but as of right now, I've just got this large looming question mark because I just, yeah, I don't know. So I've tried to not think about it and just keep working on what's in front of me, and I'll figure out Youmacon after September. So I'm plugging in my serger right now. Ugh, that's what all this moving around and trying to find outlet plugs ba-doop-a-doop it is. I guess I can leave the cord over here. That's like a death trap waiting to happen. Yeah, for Youmacon, I wanted just to dress up as Sei and hang out at the bar. I'm not even gonna lie. Do a bunch of cosplay things, hang out with people. Yeah. You weren't planning on competing. Well, again, like, if they're going to have these international costume contests, usually they have to do with you have to, what's the word? It's floating around in my head. I'm misplacing it. Masquerade. Most of them you have to do a masquerade for. Alright, so I'm not sure, and I'm going to turn this around. I think you guys can see it if I do this, right? Yeah, you can see it in the cam, and you can kind of see it, if I scoot it forward, you might even be able to see it above us. Huzzah! So this is my serger. We're going to go this way. I'm trying to make it so it's visible in both cameras. This is the Simplicity SL350. I think it's from, like, 90s, sometime in the 90s. It's nothing too fancy, but let me tell you, it's done a lot. I need to, as of right now, I have black. And I need to change all of those to red. So I've got my red. I will open her up. Now this is a 2-needle four thread. I do the tidy lot. I love Gutermann thread. I'm a thread snob. I'm also a paper snob, but I'm a very much so a thread snob. All of the thread I use is Gutermann. I won't use anything else. Unless for some reason it's a special embroidery thread and Gutermann doesn't have it. But usually you can just then go to the Gutermann website and order your Gutermann thread. To be completely honest, I think that it's better, but that's merely because my mother bestowed in me that don't use anything other than Gutermann. And so I think that that's just kind of like psychologically been handed down to me. I do notice that other thread I have more of an issue with it breaking. I don't know, so I don't change up from a good thing. Gutermann's done me wonders, so I only use Gutermann. So this is, in case you guys were wondering, I'm using the overlocking thread. So I did get this stuff from Joann Fabrics. You want to be careful when you go and get your thread, especially when you have to get multiple spools. You want to make sure that you get the same exact color. So to check that, on the inside of these, there is a number. And so you'll want to make sure that all of those numbers match. Because when I initially grabbed these, there was a red that looked like it was one of these. But when I checked inside, the number was completely off. So, huzzah. Make sure you got the correct one. I'm going to find the thread on the outside of these. Usually they're just kind of hanging around somewhere. Making a mess with this one. There we go. Here. Now, if you've seen a serger before, you know that to get into it, you slide the front panel over, at least that's how you do it for this one. But there are a bunch of different... Here, let's unplug this. Tilt this guy back. There are a bunch of different, like, places that those strings have to go. They come down, they go through, they go in and around. So the easiest way, once you've already got it set up, some people end up pulling all of these out to pull their strings through. I recommend just tying them off up at the top. Because, I mean, work smarter, not harder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these tubes off. I'm going to put the new ones on. The one that I really outwound a lot, I'm going to put as for the blue. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to snip and cut off all my black threads. I should tape those, but I'm slightly lazy. I'm using just a painter's tape to hold them down. Scotch tape works too, things that won't leave a residue. Because I mean, you're putting it on thread. I guess you could always tape to the top, but that's if you're really using your brain. Why would I use my brain and tape it to the top? Nutblump, hello Nutblump, that's a fun name. Alright, so we've taken the blacks off. Now we've just got to switch the threads over. So all I'm going to do is just tie them. If you've ever worked with an industrial sewing machine, you know that this is the easiest way to change thread when you run out, is just tie it off. And then I'm going to do exactly what you guys think I'm going to do. I am going to pull slowly the black thread through my machine until the red thread is left in its place. So I'm just giving a light tug, making sure my knots are secure. I'm going to pull that extra slack out the back side of it. Because again, I can't just keep touching that fabric I just cut, because it will fray everywhere. You don't want to have to fray check all the sides. It's a little ridiculous. Nobody in their right mind would do that. I mean, I have before, but that was like back in middle school. I was making a stuffed animal. What is it for? Like home ec class. Alright. My machine is unplugged, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my needles up, and I'm going to I'm gonna go on a secret mission. That's what it looks like I'm doing right now. Now it was all. There we go. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start one at a time, because remember those. We're gonna start at the bottom too. Or screw it. We'll just start with this guy. And what's gonna happen is, so I'm at my first needle. This knot will not go through my needle hole. However, I mean, I've done most of the work already. There's that. We thread needles front to back always. And it's so easy when there's just so much crap in the way. Sergio, you're making this easy for me, bud. Sometimes I wet the thread with my saliva. Oh, goodness. And have to use pliers to navigate it in. Ugh. That's what she said. Oh, goodness. This is why most people, when you see costumes, will choose one color thread, because to change these things is always a peach. I mean, I'm so lazy, I have multiple sewing machines, because sometimes during a project I don't like just having to change my bobbin thread. Making sure that as I go, each piece literally gets put right back where it's supposed to. And let's do this one next. Yep, got it. Figured we might as well do both of the needles first. They're the assholes in the group. there's this safety bar that's in front of this thing that makes threading so easy going. Alright. 2 down, 2 more to go. So let's start. This one. It's sliding down and around. Oh, that's fun to watch. This one I didn't have to worry about threading anywhere. I just had to carefully make sure it didn't break apart inside the machine. Last but not least, where you stuck it? Oh, with your tension spots. Alright. So this is all the waste, which is not a lot when you think about it when it comes down to changing thread. Let's see here. Making sure everybody's still in the same spots they're supposed to be. Now, those scrap pieces that I had, you never want to start serging on the keeper fabric to start off with, because even though I set all this fabric up to a crepe satin that I had, I could be wrong tension wise, so better safe than sorry. Machine's on, lift it up, push it down. Oh, I didn't even think about that. Always when you serge past your mark. Not too bad. Not too bad. Let's see what that does. Now I'm just playing with some settings. It pinched it in one section. I'm not sure if that had to do with like me pulling it. Well, that looks freaking beautiful. Can I tighten the tension a little maybe? I did half a step on that. We'll try 2. So what I'm doing now is I'm just trying to figure out which one I like the most. That one's a little far set. This one's a little, I mean, it's a little perfect. It's got a couple tension issues. So I've got the time to double check and make sure we get it right the first time around. Checking the tension in the back. Much better. Oh, we did have a hiccup right there. Looks like it's skipped. So let's see here. I'm just going to keep doing strips of this until I get it right. That's a freaking hot mess. that's the case, we're going to go back to this, back to 1. Make sure everybody is still strung how they're supposed to. Everything through again. One, 2, 3, 4. All right. So that last one definitely botched. So we're gonna go back to the settings of the one before it. Hope that that will straighten it all up. Yeah, that's not bad. Let's make sure it's not a fluke. We'll do it one more time, and then I will feel comfortable moving on to the other fabric. Yep, all right. Oh, we've got that figured out. I'm going to start with the small collar pieces, like I've said a couple times now. So yeah. Sorry, I know it's loud. Looks pretty though. You guys can see it. Well, glad that's the side that's gonna get cut, because yike-a-doos. So I'm just gonna snip off all the pieces I don't need. And the crazy thing is, you won't even be able to see everything that I just did right there and when I'm done with this. But there's one piece, only a bunch more to go. So I'm serging all of the pieces one by one, and the sad thing is no one besides me and you guys will even know that they are serged, because I'm going to be lining the whole entire thing as well. So for these collar pieces, as I go, let's set them up. I know I'm going to have to use pins in this project, and the fear of breaking a nail apparently is real. I'm going to use... Didn't break a nail. I'm going to use Wonder Clips to hold this together before I sew it. Again, I know that I will be using pins, but if I can try to avoid any unwanted fraying of the material, I'm going to. So I'm just clipping along the top and the side that I will be sewing closed. Because remember, this back part is where a zipper will put in. Just to kind of make sure things line up. nicely, just smoothing things out. So one piece is ready for a sewing machine. Trip to the sewing machine, but not right now. And it might come down to it that after I get all these serged, I might go back and cut the front and the one front piece and the 4 back pieces out for the lining. Because as I'm seeing here, it kind of all gets put together as one big piece before we move on to the skirt. Yeah. Lots of sewing to do, do. And I'm finding out I really should have trimmed this off a lot better. There's only so much room for scraps to be fed through this machine. Yike-a-doos. Something got stuck. Stitch is just passed down his cat tree, leg hanging over the side. Like the noise of this machine is nothing to him. It's gotta be nice. Ashley speaking. Gotta love a good telemarketer. However, I've gotten to the habit of picking them up and immediately blocking them, and then I never have to worry about them or deal with them again. So, woohoo! Here's to hoping that eventually maybe no telemarketers would call me. Wishful futuristic thinking. So I'm trimming the sides, not all the way to the edge, because again, like, don't want to cut in with scissors and lose some of it due to fraying. Did anybody catch where my cell phone ringtone is from? Name that anime. Huh? Always put nice sides together when sewing. I'm going to pin them the same way. That way when I go to sew them, I sew them with the same type of curve.
It's an old machine, so it does have its quirks.
It looks like it missed a couple stitches on one. And again, it could have been an operator thing too. I could have accidentally have tugged on it. Because you won't be seeing these, it's not too upsetting. I just usually like things to be even. Alright. Those are the collar pieces. Clean up some mess. My green tea. Alright. Next pieces. And we'll wait to do the big one. We'll do... Oh, I've got those small squares still. We'll do those ones first. These ones should be fine.
nails are at. Sorry, guys. That's my fault. So again, we're just serging all of the pieces to the dress that we cut out. Because it is a Chinese silk brocade, it will fray like nobody's business. So we are trying to be proactive instead of reactive. That, and I believe that this just makes for a nicer finished garment. After we're done with today, we're going to make sure to oil it. With newer machines, you send them out for maintenance. This machine is something that I can do some at-home maintenance with. I'm a firm believer that if you're going to use a sewing machine, if you understand how it actually works, how the tension works, how, you know, the actual needles swoop in and catch the bobbin foot, if you can understand all of that, fixing these machines is a breeze. It's a piece of cake if you understand what the heck's going on to begin with. Oh, it's so pretty! And these are so these back panels, and if you watch this stream prior, you'll know I didn't try it. They are literally the exact same pattern on either side. What are the chances of that happening? Okay, so that's really cool. Let's keep this fun surging party going. So because I'm going to be cutting and serging on curves with this, just gonna make sure I trim it up a little bit more. The machine's already going to hate doing that on the round. I don't need to give it more of a reason to despise this. Alright. track first. Look like caught on something. Did that turn out? Oh, pinch the fabric a bit. But I should be okay. Yeah, I should be fine with that. I might have to sand that. It looks like there was like one of those screw heads that could have. I think that's right on the seam. I don't need that, but that's good to know. So my machine is getting a little warm. Again, she's an oldie, but a goodie. So after we get these like last 3 pieces done, we're gonna turn her off and cut some more pieces out. Last thing we want is anything to happen to you, old gal, old pal, old friend. One more piece done. Moving right along. Do do do. Yeah, it's snagging on that. So, quick fix. I don't know why it didn't start snagging with the other pieces. But to fix it, I'm just going to put a piece of tape over it right now. There, quick fix. things are still hunky-dory. Got a lot of dust going up in there, so just clean that out. Getting there slowly but surely. This is a bigger piece. We're gonna wrap again. Let's deal with the side that I hate the most. Actually, let's do this straight away so it can readjust itself. Sorry, I'm just talking to myself. Ugh. Ooh. So we're not as clean anymore, and I'm glad that I did that run on the waistband. And that just might mean that we just need to pull things out and start again. Where did I put that trash? Ah, you're talking about Thorin Oakenshield? Red jacket. Is that dwarf red? He's sketching it. Oh, you're talking about my Final Fantasy 14 online character, Gosetsu Everfall from last year. That was originally going to be Youmacon 2017's costume. But we are contemplating doing a large prop. Ooh, I just did something strange there. A large prop build for it. So, like, if I'm going to be Thorin Oakenshield, King Under the Mountain, in a gender bend, I need to then have my throne that's been desolated by smog. So we realized that with Thorin, he couldn't just be a costume all by himself. However, with Gosetsu, that one just fell flat. That one was just a crash and burn. Never finished it. Never started it. Drew out some solid ass designs, and that's all that happened. That's all that became of him. I feel bad because there are a couple other cosplays that have bit the dust that way as well. They just never made it to creation. Yeah, poor Gosetsu Everfall. Someday. I just have a thing for really badass characters, and I just can't find any female characters that fit the caliber of coolness that I want to do. So if anybody ever has any villain suggestions they want to toss my way, I'm all ears. Yeah! Alright, so glad no one will see that. So just pulling the threads through and resetting it took apart what looks like cat started chewing on the bottom already, but alright, we're getting there. I appreciate everybody that's been hanging out with me and chit-chatting. I know this is probably boring for you guys, let me tell you. It's a rip-roaring good time on this end. So I'm just flip-flopping from one side to the other side, one side to the other side. My lightsaber is going off in the background. Let's see what's going on with myself. In the meantime, we'll turn this thing off for a second. I will say, this charger just knows how to kick out the heat. So, I know there's not a lot of you watching this stream right now. Judgment free zone. I don't blame you. You're just watching some person surge. We hit Disfusional Studios hit over 1,000 followers on Instagram. So this weekend we will be posting a giveaway, and depending on how many people enter the giveaway, we could be giving away to just one person, or I guess potentially up to 3 people, a free print and then paintbrush giveaway. So I, having been a art teacher in the past, I have some paintbrushes that I love and that I use for almost all of my shenanigans behind the scenes. And so I am going to be giving a set. So it's like 2, 4, 6, sizes 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. I think so. Around 6 paintbrushes and then 1 print for the giveaway. It'll be really easy for people to enter, but again, it'll be something that's only going to be held on Instagram. So, and it'll be international. I don't care where people win it or whatnot. So, if you want some really nice quality free paintbrushes and a nice print of me, look for that. We'll drop the announcement sometime this weekend, and it'll go for a whole entire week because I know that people have real lives, and they might not just spend all their waking moment on social media. I get it. We'll do random reminders throughout next week, and then we'll select winner and or winners next weekend. That's the game plan. So yeah, as people supporting and just digging my content, I want to get back to you guys and say thanks, yo. Thanks for following my crap and my cat. I don't have any violet prints, so what we will be doing, I've got a very limited supply of Moxie prints. I think for Get Geeked Expo, we only printed 10 of the ones with Moxie on top of the what was it? The graffiti. It was like a graffiti gas tank flipped upside down that we climbed on top of. I only printed 10 of those, and I have like a couple left. That one will be up for the giveaway. I've got 1 scarecrow print that I think I've got like 10 left of, maybe, from the shoot we did in the abandoned warehouse. That'll be up for a possibility if somebody wants to forgive it. And then I've got a really cool print. I got maybe a little bit over a handful left of it, of Talon. If you are from Detroit or know of the Fillmore in Detroit, there's that mezzanine area where they say don't put your beverages. We actually were able to climb and stand on top of that, and I've got people holding onto my belt as I'm leaning over the mezzanine, and so we've got that really cool print as well. So whoever wins will have the option of picking which print they want, and yeah, we'll go from there. I don't know, I'm just going on a whim. Right now I'm feeling like everybody should get, the winner gets 1 print. Who knows? Next weekend I might just decide that the winner gets 3 sets of paintbrushes and 3 giveaway packs because I'm lazy and don't want to mail out 3. I'm just playing it by ear. But look for that Instagram post either Saturday or Sunday. Probably more towards Sunday. But yeah, definitely will be going up this weekend. We're trying to shoot more this fall because of a lot of my cosplays being of evil creatures and are very dark, ominous villains. We're going to be shooting a lot of it in the fall because that's the time that those colors and metalwork look at their best. So we'll have the Seder prints will be coming for next year, and then we'll have a new Mad Moxie print, and then I know that we're going to be doing a Himoka Toga, and there might be, I haven't put it in the books yet and I have no clue, so if there's any photographers out there that watch this and you're looking for an artistic collaboration, I'm looking to shoot Shadow Sai Najima, preferably in kind of a roulette or cigar lounge type of setting. I'm open to ideas, but that's kind of our game plan right now. New Moxie prints, that's why we're feeding out these old ones to bring in for the new badass ones. I really dig the Scarecrow and the Talon prints, so those ones will keep coming back into restock. But yeah, those are the updates. People have asked in the past, I do not have a store. Instead, you will either have to make arrangements with me to come pick it up, or just wait until I have booths at conventions. That's going to be your best bet. I'd rather do cosplay instead of sending out prints after prints after prints. I feel like that's a lot of time. A lot of time cosplayers have to do into signing all those prints. I'd rather put all that time into making a fool of myself on Twitch, surging the crap out of fabric all day long. Yeah, Violet Evergarden. I loved that. I loved it. I cried when I was happy. I cried when I was sad. And I still have to finish cleaning the vintage typewriter that I have. Yeah. Yeah. That's probably why there are no Violet prints yet either. That wig's atrocious. It needs some TLC too.
just stuck.
Alright, well, that's not good. But again, if you know how it works, you can pull it apart and fix it. That's why I say it's vitally important that people know how their machines work. Because I got 2 threads right here that aren't where they're supposed to be. And you can also tell that it started cutting in without stitching where it's supposed to be either, which is a little problemsome. A little problematic there. Go figure. On the last loop-de-loop, we've got this to deal with. So, what am I dealing with? We are dealing with green, but this goes up and down and all around. Usually how a project goes, you get to the very end and then things go awry. So my guess is as I was going and we were crossing over the stitches that we already had, things got stuck and caught on some things. Oh yeah. Now, and if you watched Violet Evergarden originally, they only released half of the season on Netflix and then released the second half too. So those episodes were like in the second release. So I had watched the first chunk and then like a couple days later was like, what? There's more episodes. So we had to go back and watch more. Darn, we had to go back and watch more. So this then. Got it correct. I think I got it right. Just because we think we got it right doesn't mean that we do, so we test it out. Just make sure that nothing came unhooked. Yeah, so we got a double loop that's gone around this one here. We don't need that. Close her up and start her again. Alright, let's just give it a shot. yeah, there's something funky going on with that. Because it picked up some white stuff and everything. Weird. Weird, weird, weird. However, we don't want to get rid of this because, as you saw, perfect for testing things out. Take care of your machines, they'll take care of you. So we finish that. A little bit of love goes a long way. Lower this out of the way. There we go. So that I can put the top together, I need to cut the lining out as well right now. So we're going to pick up our area a bit so we have room. In my cabinet. I won't need black until we start working on Magda again. We had to put a pause to Magda right now to get some other things taken care of. There's all the fuzz. Scissors. Back to the beautiful fabric that the camera hates to keep focused on. Keep some things out. Maybe it'll be easier to focus. Wishful thinking. Just peeling glue off the table too. Okay, so we've got the collars. We don't need to worry about those. Let's see, what do we need two of? We need another one of these. We need these, this, that, nope, and nope. Okay. And take the pins out. You might think what I'm going to do next is funny, but usually I keep all of the pattern pieces I've made inside of a binder. But this time, so I don't want to keep any of my pins in there, so I try to use staples. They'll go through. Goodness. Don't be a weep. Whole bunch of... Well, let's get a better stapler then. So instead of pins, because I don't want to store these with pins in them, all of my staplers suck. Oh well, I'm over it. I was going to staple them, but My staplers are worthless right now. I mean, they're probably always worthless, let's be real. But for the wedding dress, because it's got such really big, bulky pieces, and it would just obscure a binder, I'm putting them in a plastic bag. Don't you even think about it. The cat knows he's not allowed on the red fabric, but that doesn't stop him from trying. I'm just labeling my bag like a crazy person, because, you know, slightly am. If I label it now, I want to label it later. Everybody will be in a better boat. So now we are dealing again with the lines. So we need to do some ironing. I don't want to melt my fabric, so I'm going to use muslin as a barrier. What's going on outside? The Polish festival, I think, is happening this weekend. And let me tell you, they are doing some setup. So yeah, we'll just use the spray bottle again. Let's heat this up a little higher. I like to heat it up high and then I bring it down low. I am impatient, very impatient when it comes to waiting on things like that. So just putting some water down, because remember, we don't want to, this isn't like your hair, you're not trying to flat iron the fabric, you don't want to melt the fabric. We are just steaming it. I've never heard of that, but I'm pretty excited for Empress. You've never heard of the Renaissance Festival? I'm brain farting. I've never heard of that, but I'm pretty excited for Renfest. Huzzah. I don't remember what I was talking about. Sometimes I start rambling smellums and like I'm off on a tangent. Is what similar? Oh, the Polish festival. No, not at all. The Polish festival is just kind of like a street fair, but it's for, like, there's a lot of punchki, like donuts are being provided there. I doubt they're the specific punchki kind, but they've got great donuts. You get a lot of brats, pierogies. It's just a fun street fair that's held at the and again, please forgive me, Polish veterans, it's like held at the Polish VFW, and then the church that's there, and then there are some local Polish businesses, and I know that they open up their doors later too, and people drink in the streets. It's a fun thing. Not like Renfest. No one dresses up. Usually you're wearing jeans and you're walking because, you know, to your car, walking home because, you know, you live close. It's a city thing. It's a city thing.
Way to get the community out to drink together, even if you're not Polish. It also is one of those things, too, that happens at the end of the summer. So there'll be fun festival fair rides, small, very small rides, not like a church festival or fair where there's a bunch of stuff to go. There'll be like small rides, maybe a Ferris wheel, if that. It's more for the food and camaraderie. Food, drinks, and camaraderie. Almost like how I spent my Youmacon then last year. Food, drinks, and camaraderie. So again, I'm just steaming out the wrinkles. That way I won't have any issues with this fabric giving me a hard time to trace my patterns upon. My patterns will just be I guess I could always iron my patterns out too, but who irons their patterns? Let's be real. So that is flat enough. Oh, looks like right up here. Can never win for lose. This should be enough. This should be good. I think if I get it damp a little bit. The heft of the water, I think, too, will work on my side. Except I'm really not happy with what's going on down here. I just lay out the muslin. So I'm using the muslin, again, to shield the silk from the heat of the iron. I'm also using it to act as a barrier to save it from all the gunk that's on the bottom side of my iron so it doesn't transfer it onto this beautiful fabric. A little better. Yeah, no, I still don't like it. That just scares me. Placing that hot object on top of this. Okay. So since this one's going to be the inside, I don't care where that top lays, what pattern's on it, if you will. We'll do the back. And this one again. Can't twist it. Don't do that. Because remember, we gotta keep with the grain of this fabric, so we've gotta go up and down with our pieces. We can't go perpendicular across. So I can flip this piece upside down, but I cannot twist it, turn it, or toss it perpendicular. Move these over slightly. This one can come up a bit. Leave an inch below there. What if I did this here? I think we're going to end up with the same layout plan from last time. Oh well, trying to be different. Didn't work out in my favor. This, I can bring it up now and fit it into the pieces. I can actually bring this really close.
just to kind of get this off the table. Inch. And I know that I won't be pulling any more fabric off this roll today. So I'm going to carefully fold it up so that nothing happens to it. And then wrap it in a cat-safe muslin. It's not that I don't trust my cat to not be an asshole and lay on the fabric and or use claws to scratch it. I just would rather be safe than sorry. That's all. That is all it stems down to. I anticipate he'll get on surfaces and his claws will come out. He's a cat after all. It's not his fault. So, proactive. The purpose of my stream, to share techniques. The real purpose of my stream is just to work and have people watch me. When I create my costumes and when I'm wearing them, so many people ask me how I did it. You can watch how I'm doing it. You can watch the tedious process. The teacher in me would love to, you know, tutorial you guys, but I don't have the time to. I'm a one-person wrecking. Well, there's two people, but one of them's doing something else right now. We just don't have the time to condense the videos and create those short tutorials. So I just flop all the videos from here onto YouTube for right now. I'm sure once we've got some things in the books for 2019, once things get going, we'll be able to break these videos apart, take my voice out of them, zoom in on certain things, and crop and skew them for you guys. But as of right now, I'm going to be making these things no matter what. Might as well Twitch stream it. That's where we're going at this point right now. So the Hangout is cool, but I will be doing this with or without these cameras on. So yeah, people come on here, they pick my brain, they ask me questions, they drive me crazy, they spam post, I don't know, they do whatever they want. For the most part, I just go with it. Let's see here. Cut that up. So either way I was going to be making this dress, whether or not these very hot lights are upon me or if it's just myself in this room all alone. I do take and do build logs for everything, so you can find all of those up on Facebook for free. We're working on transitioning all that over to the website. We've upped the website so that it is cell phone and tablet friendly, cross-platform interactive, if you will. That was a big step because we code and design our own site. We don't use a engine to help us out, like Wix or anything like that. So yeah, I'm just here crafting. People can hang, people can float, people can wander, people can come in, they can ask questions. A lot of times on stream too, I will blab out projects that are coming up in the line that I won't announce for like months down the line, just because it's where the conversation goes. Yeah. This will probably not be, we'll just leave that there for now. Because they are all the same. Yep. Yep, yep, yep. So again, all my triangles and my marks, I'm going to flip them, invert them. So again, I'm just adding the 1 inch allowance to where my zipper is going to be placed. The zipper will run from below my bum on the skirt all the way to above my hips into these side back pieces that I'm drawing out right now. With this tape, I'm just taping down these extra pieces here. I'm going to pull the pins off. I've got these two done. I'm going to add them to my pattern bag. So I'm gonna eyeball it. Here's my waist, or at least there's where it connects, okay. So I'm giving myself into the end of next, not this upcoming weekend, but next weekend, to have the entire dress, all of the red, the base of the dress put together. The only thing that will not be finished will be the hem of the dress will not be sewn together. That way I can hand sew the lace appliques on. And then the slip, the skirt slip underneath will not be sewn or attached. I guess the bustle beads wouldn't be, or the buttons wouldn't be put on too, but that's a little intricate. Until the very end. because I got to be able to get in between the layers of the dress to do some hand sewing. And woohoo! Yeah, that's the goal, is to have all this. So as of right now, my Twitch stream schedule was put for Tuesdays and Thursdays. If you check out Instagram from time to time, I will post on there when our random streams are. Like sometimes streams will happen at 1 o'clock. It's usually my go-to time for some reason. Yeah. Because I gotta get this done. So we will be doing quite a few more streams. Again, if I've got to do this anyways, might as well do it on stream with you lovely folks. Almost forgot to mark the different shoulder seams. Here's in the back where my shoulder blades where it meets up. Here's where above my shoulder seams meet up. Folding, cleaning up as I go. Yeah. 2:52, almost 3 o'clock. Probably easier if I just drop it like this. There we go. And then I can use that heavy cell phone of mine as a paperweight. Actually, 2 for 1. Hold the pattern and the fabric down. I did miss one. Make sure we get our dart marks. So I'm just marking places where I need to make sure that my stitches make it. Please. One thing I do forget to do is take progress pictures. My camera is not set up currently because I'm using the tripod for something else, non-camera related. So I forget. So what I'm doing here is I'm not cutting the pattern out along its edges. I'm just generalizing its cuts. That way when I serge it, I will serge around those final lines. Which I know. Here's the last piece. I'm just gonna continue with what I already was doing. I don't need the little pieces that were pinned to the bottom of this one anymore. I know what I need to do already. fold this guy into 3. It'll fit in that bag better. These can get on it. So these small pieces here I won't save. This one I shall, though. This will be of no assistance. No. No. Finish one project and start another. I've got a lot of cords back here, so I'm just trying to put some order to the madness. That's still warm too. Getting the serger back out because everybody loved the sound that it made, right? I'll leave the pliers out because it was really easy working with it with the pliers. We used the steam ripper too last time. So if I get everything I need out now, we should be sitting pretty. Oh, it's still very warm. We'll get it all set and ready and see how it feels then. Last thing I want to do is use this so much that I burn it out because we're not even to the skirts yet. And the skirt's got some big old pieces. Let's see. I'm going to move these over this side. It was less dirty. When I say dirty, I mean like the fraying of pieces and whatnot. I'm going to awkwardly take some progress pictures with you guys right there. Yeah, it's really warm still. We're going to stage a couple photos because I'm cool like that. How do you stage some photos? Make it look like I really had to use some monster clips. Taking some pictures of the close-up of the serging, that way you guys can check that out later. Again, all progress photos go to Instagram, and then once everything gets refined after said project, they get put into nice little, almost like PDF images, and put up as like folders, photo albums or whatnot on Facebook for you guys to peruse through. I've had some people inquire about the Moxie one after we put that video up online. It shows you how I made the tails. Now I want to keep these ones and these guys separately. Couple reasons. One is those side back pieces were a perfect match from one side to the other symmetrically. Also, I'm sure I put a little bit more TLC into cutting and prepping these pieces than I did these ones. So these are going to be the outside visible pieces, these will be the lining pieces. And I need to make sure that I keep them separate because I know that that's going to be a factor. And so I don't make the mistake of which ones are the lining and which ones are not. Most people will want to write on it. I don't want to write on this fabric. I don't want to have to worry about bleeding through extra marks when they're not needed. So I'm just going to rip off a little piece of tape, put it on the inside, and this is how I know that this piece here is for the lining. I don't have to put it in a separate pile. I don't have to like shove extra things in between. Just put a piece of tape on it. One more. I'm gonna put another blue piece of tape on it, letting me know that it's a lining piece. So again, we're serging the ends, that way they don't fray all over the place. I'm serging the silk brocade. That way, when we go to sew it in a later stream, it won't fray and unravel. This fabric is absolutely gorgeous. Again, I'm marking my lining pieces with a little piece of tape. That way I can just add it to the pile. And then here's the big piece. So yeah, it's turning out really nice so far. Again, all of this serging no one will see because after all I'm even serging the ends of my lining. However, if I want to continue handling these pattern pieces as I go to sew, it's only going to fray and come unraveled, and then that cuts into my seam allowance. So to keep things nice and tidy like a normal piece of apparel, we're serging all the ends. I'm not in any rush, I'm just taking my time. We're getting more done today than I had originally anticipated, so that's always a plus. Always a plus. Serging the armpits is a pain. Did it again. So what's happening is that it is not releasing off So if I'm not mistaken, we were given a little bit of a misfortune with the last time. This is bad. Baka. Alright. see what's going on. Love a good technical difficulty. There's 1 string, 2 string, 3 string. And which one's got the 4th? Nope, those ones aren't connected anywhere. 4. Alright, we got all 4 of them. Are they all in the correct place? Has anybody looped around somebody they shouldn't have? Nope. Alright. Usually once I fix whatever the issue is, it feeds through no problem. As I push my trash off the table. Just need some TLC from here to there. And it looks like, even though that wasn't a bad pass, we are missing our extra bottom lip. So that tells me somebody didn't make it home. Aha. Hee hee ho ho. No problem. Luckily that won't have a large effect on the garment. Again, we're doing with lining. It is still serged. However, we are missing it. Missing a thread. It didn't go in the end. Like I should have worn a red t-shirt today with all the red fuzzies that are everywhere. I'm just trying to thread the serger again with the, I mean, they don't just jump out on their own. I'm sure I pulled this one out. Except for it's just, get in there. Oh, come on now. Come on now. Let's see here. And players is like a 3rd hand. And that goes underneath. Okay, now we're rocking and rolling again. Like I said, that small mishap of not having that thread through shouldn't do anything weird. I mean, it's made a looser stitch all around, but it's still stitched on. It's not going anywhere. It's an armpit anyways. Back to the 4 and 2. just don't see it. Give you a well-needed rest. Because my machines sit out on a shelf, they have all got their own little cute covers. Some cuter than others. Their serger's no different than my other sewing machines. I love these Clinique Happy Day bags. I've also got like extra bulbs in there for some of them. Oh, I guess I needed that to mark this guy. So we should have all of the bodice, top of the dress pieces are cut out, including the lining, which is further than I thought we would get for today. With that being said, it looks like my stream can come to an end for today. I'll try to get on tomorrow. I got a bunch more stuff. Again, we've got the skirt pieces, but before we even get to transferring the skirt pieces to this fabric, I want to start taking these pieces that we just cut out in serge today and actually creating the top for the dress to make sure that everything's going to keep running smoothly like it is so far. A reminder, if you weren't here at the beginning of the stream, we will be doing an Instagram giveaway for having reached 1,000 followers. So check out our feed probably around Sunday evening to see what the giveaway is and how you can enter and get involved in that. Until next time, thank you for everybody that stopped by my stream. Disfusional.com is where you can check out everything and anything that's happening with us in the studio to see where we're at next. So thanks again for everybody that stopped and chit-chatted. I will talk to you later, possibly tomorrow.